Shakalaka! Again.
All right.
And anyway, right?
That's right. Anyway.
Yes, we are here back in our wonderful studio, comfortable home away from home. And today we have a great path maker. Wait,
Yes,
we got
absolutely.
Ras Smith here today.
Yes, Iowa State Representative. He's going to be talking to us today about all the great things that are in process. You know, it's a long, hard road, y'all, but we stepping, and
Slowly
great
but
things are
surely.
happening.
Slowly but surely.
Right,
Yes.
and welcome today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. I know I missed you all last time, but I'm really excited to be here. I always enjoy the conversation, and you guys make it fun. You make it fun to talk about some things that aren't always easy, so I love that. I love that.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ras. And you know, lately there hasn't been, you know, we try to talk about and concentrate on all the good things because there's always something good happening on the north end.
That's right.
And
That's right.
everywhere else in the Cedar Valley, for sure.
And
Yes.
you know this. But today, in these times, it's really kind of hard. We have to actually ask people to send us some good news because we're flooded and inundated with all the things that are going around and they're not so good.
Right.
So today we're going to start out with some of the good things that we know about, and we shared on our show yesterday. We had a little a little preview to today's show. Yesterday we had Kent Shankle on.
Yes, we had Kent Shankle from Waterloo Center of the Arts, and he talked to us about some great projects and everything that are going on. Most recently, this beautiful mural that's posted down on East 4th Street. It's on 4th and I want to say Lafayette.
4th and
Okay.
Lafayette, right with the other
Yes.
big, beautiful mural as well.
Yes.
At the overpass. There.
So we've got all this great art going on around us. And we also had Jerome Amos Jr. He was with us yesterday, as was Jonathan Grider.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Ras, do you know that us baby boomers did a wonderful thing when we gave birth to you people? Honey, I saw that white man, Jonathan Grider, for the first time, Chaveevah, yesterday, seeing, I don't know how old he is. He's younger than me.
He's younger than me.
Okay, is
Yeah.
he?
Yeah.
But to hear him say Black Lives Matter, I'm like, you know, it was something new.
Yes.
Your generation, I think, is really going to make a difference. And I think that with the death of George Floyd, I think we've really, America has finally gotten woke.
Or
Should I
reach
say.
a tipping point. I mean, it's not like these things haven't happened before in history where you reach a tipping point where it's just enough or just too much. But the forward progression that's a result of that tipping point seems to, I'm seeing things I've never seen in my years.
Yes,
You know?
right.
Well, that's what's so exciting to me. I mean, you think about people like Jonathan Grider, right? Who's woke, but he's actively being an anti-racist every day.
Yes.
And to have that being one of our educators in the Cedar Valley, it's huge. That's how it starts. That's how you ensure that the next generation, right, that my daughter and her friends have the same mindset going forward. So I'm excited about people like him because that's where the difference is made. As a black man, we know what we have to do to keep fighting forward, but to have allies like Jonathan fighting alongside us and willing to step out forward in front of us, that's what we need. That's what we
Right.
need.
And leading by example. He said he drove his daughter by the mural, and you know, things like that. These things, a lot of people are, and I think, were you telling me about the demographics of the marches? You know, that it's 50.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Actually, the whole story about the demographics was sort of creepy as far as the kind of intel that they're using to track who's doing what, how many women, how many men, age groups, all this kind of stuff they're filtering. And out of that also came that something like no less than, in any of the markets that they checked, you know, as far as with the rallies, no less than 65% were white people.
Wow.
You know.
So,
Wow.
yeah, it sounds like the tables are finally turning in the right direction. So hopefully we can keep this momentum. And so we wanted to share some of the good things. Jonathan Grider, Kent Shankle, and Jerome Amos were definitely a good thing that I can think about today after their being on our show yesterday. The mural and the pianos. And did you know our famous Chaveevah gets to paint a piano, and it's going to be downtown?
I'm excited. I'm excited.
I am too. I am so looking forward to that because with this COVID thing going on, it's always, I don't know, you sort of have to kickstart yourself to do things, whereas before, the stuff that we would just take for granted, that it was always going to be happening, everything was just going to be flowing, but yeah, sometimes an extra little push is a great thing.
That's good. My wife is an artist, and sometimes it takes that something to jumpstart her to get on the canvas. So I'm glad we have you motivated to do some stuff now.
Okay.
Now listen,
Awesome.
what does she paint? What kind of things does your wife paint?
So she does things that are surreal. So not a lot of whole realistic paintings, but she a little bit of everything. She also makes jewelry. She's a jewelry maker. Yeah, so I have to buy her a miniature welder and some things like that one of these days so she can get back to it.
Really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
And tell us your wife's name. Amelia.
Amelia. Yep,
Amelia, one of my favorite
Yeah.
names.
See,
I
I
love
remembered.
That.
I remembered.
I remember
You
too
gotta be
after
good.
I asked.
She's gonna be excited about the shout out too.
Okay.
Well, hi Amelia. Keep on doing what makes you awesome, making jewelry, painting, and being Ras's wife. Way more than that, though.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we talked about some good things. We got to switch gears, and we want to remember that Terrence Mabry has a celebration of life coming up tomorrow.
Yes. The Mabry family and their friends are going to hold a celebration of life for Terry Mabry this Saturday, June 27th, noon at Ferguson Field. And, they're inviting everyone, friends, to come on down and celebrate with them and show support. They're going to be following CDC measures, with the social distancing,
Sure.
masks, and et cetera. So
Right.
it's noon on Saturday.
Noon on Saturday, and I think we have something on our wall sharing that. And also our condolences to Cora Turner, who's a peer of ours, and she has lost a sister, and anyone else who's grieving today in our neck of the woods or anywhere in the Cedar Valley or whoever's watching around the world. We know this is a tough time everywhere, and to go through all of these different things and to lose a loved one is got to be so hard.
So that makes it that much more important that we shout out and send them some love and let them know that you're in our thoughts, because it's difficult during these times, even for family, to all be able to get together,
Yes.
when a loved one has passed.
Yeah.
That's right. And at this time, we want to recognize we don't have Zion. Zion,
Yes,
Lori
I
Dale's
do.
son,
I do.
Zion. He's not here with us. The pandemic has affected that. But we want to shout out to Zion, and we want to ask our Ed, are there any comments? Is there anyone that wants to shout out to us, or what do you got there for us, Ed? And then we were talking about Aunt Jemima last week as well. We want to our next segment is Give It Air, and we want to tell our viewers to come and please look at our wall, and you can find some of those things that we've been talking about. And if you're wondering why we're talking about these things, it's because it's time to talk about it.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. It's time to absolutely give it air. And because airing things out is the best disinfectant. It's unfortunate that a lot of things that we're just now kind of finding out about, they've been active, in some cases actively hidden.
Yes.
Like one of the things we're going to talk about today, or at the least, horrible situation. It's just out of sight, out of mind.
Right.
But there's little stuff that's just actively, you don't want people to know about that. Well, we want you to know about it, okay?
Right. So, Ras, we're going to ask you to start out this segment. These type of stories, I think you and Chaveevah were talking about it, and it was 1894 and 96, the Fusion Party, which was a coalition of Republicans, which were basically today's Democrats, and the Populist Party, which was white farmers, voted out the Democrats and established the first truly multiracial political party back in 1894.
Wow.
The short story of it is that there was a massacre because white people didn't like the fact that there was so much black control in the Senate. Was it the
Yes,
Senate?
absolutely.
And so they slaughtered these people. And so these kind of stories, you almost can say, I understand why it was hidden because it's so awful, but to understand what's going on today, we need to review these. How do you talk to your how old are your children? How would we give these kind of topics without breaking somebody's heart?
Well, I think, first and foremost, in today's society, we have to be real about what's taking place, right? Like with Tulsa, I was amazed at how many of my peers at the Capitol had no idea what Tulsa was, what that meant for the black community, right? I mean, that was our first established real Black Wall Street in this country, right? Our first economical community in which we were self-sufficient and self-sustained, but also were willing to benefit communities around and be an example, right? Be the model of what Wall Street is today. And I think for them to not know their own history, to not know American history is dangerous. So with me and my 7-year-old, my 3-year-old, race has always been a topic in my house that we could have never have shied away from. My wife is white, I'm Black. I work in a field where if I'm doing my job right, I should be in the headlines sometimes. And when my daughter sees that, she's going to ask the question as to why. And when we passed our plan for a perfect union, my daughter was curious as to, first she saw the picture and asked, Daddy, why you look like you're upset? I said, well, Daddy was just tired. I was worn out, it had been a long day. But I was fighting so that maybe she wouldn't have to have this conversation, you know, in 30 years when she's at the Capitol running things. And my hope is that we have to be real with our children. We have to be real with our peers. And those relationships that we have that are close, that's our first step to making real change. Just having those difficult conversations with people that we love and know, even if you disagree, you'll be back here tomorrow. And I think that's what's really important, is that we embrace it. You lean into it in this moment. We don't have a choice.
Right, that's right. Lean into it. Okay,
Yep,
we have some
has
comments.
some comments for us.
We do have a comment. Shar Rorda asked, when did you decide to get into politics?
Yeah, so, Shar, so Ross, I got into politics really out of feeling necessity. I was working at Carver Academy as a site coordinator there. A lot of my students were coming to me with issues that I felt as though were systemic. I would do all I could to make sure they had food on the table, gas in the cars so they can get to school. Their basic needs were met, but at the end of the day, our system was failing them. I had a student that I would never forget. She missed 2 weeks of school, asked why, and she told me it was because the grandma could no longer afford her in-home nurse, so she had to stay home, right? This is a 12-year-old. So we're taking books to her every day. And at some point, right, something's got to give. And we're always going to tell you family first. That's what I believe in. So it's always family first, but she was sacrificing her education at a very young age to take care of her family because our healthcare system was failing. And for me, I want to make sure that every student has opportunity to be successful, and it starts with the educational foundation. So for me, education is something I'm passionate about, and I felt like we have to address that, and that really spurred me to get involved and see if we can change the system that people that look like us are operating in.
How difficult or easy or whatever was it for you to get involved?
You know, born and raised in Waterloo, I love the city, and the city of Waterloo has been really supportive of me. So in that sense, that part was easy. But I can say breaking into the political realm was a steep learning curve. Okay. But being from here and being a kid who graduated from lab school, right? So I spent most of my days in an all-Black community, but went to school in an all-white
Cedar
Falls.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
every day it was a consistent. It was constantly molding and figuring out, okay, how do I navigate two different worlds, really? And then eventually, I think right around the age of, honestly, 17, 18, there was no longer a transition for me. This was who I was becoming. This was my world. And I think that really helped me at the Capitol, being able to say, hey, these are things that I know you may not understand, but people in my community are suffering from, and having those conversations. So being able to coach and teach at the Capitol has been something that I've really leaned into, and I think it's what helped me kind of get involved and really embrace what it is. And I think people have been open to that experience and to me taking that role at the Capitol.
Right, well, good. One thing that we often hear, I don't know if you've seen the video of the tough conversations with a Black man. We've shared that video on our wall.
Okay.
I can't think of the young man's name, but he answers some. Do you remember his name? Chaveevah's really
No,
good
I
at
don't.
that.
Not this time.
So anyway, go to our wall. Another reason to go to it and like our North End update page, because we share a lot of that stuff that some people may consider important, and we certainly hope you do. But one thing that we always hear is Black on Black crime. Now listen, Chaveevah and I get it totally. I tell people there's no such thing. I mean, I understand there is, but I want to talk about white on white crime. Now, how dumb does that sound?
Exactly.
So how dumb does it sound to say any other ethnic group and just label that their crime? So let's give that some air. Why is that a label? Why is it important for people to understand that people commit crimes against people they know in their own communities in every culture? So quit saying, I mean,
Yes.
I don't know, people are gonna say it,
Yeah.
but don't act like it's a thing, because it's not.
No, it works to further perpetuate what we know is systemic portrayal of a certain group of people, right?
Thank you. That's how you
less
say
than.
it, right.
And it's unfortunate, but if you know history, you know that's part of Jim Crow, right? That is part of the plan that unfortunately was executed to a T, and it's still the remnants that exist today. But crime typically happens amongst those you live nearest to.
Yeah.
And in our country, that's typically those who are more related to your ethnic, racial, socioeconomic status, right? So if you're wealthy, you probably commit crimes typically against wealthy people.
Right.
If you're somebody who speaks Spanish, you probably commit crimes against other Spanish-speaking people. Regardless of your race, it's about your neighborhood and who you live with. Most heinous crimes are committed against people that you love the most, which is unfortunate, but typically that's what we see. So those inconsistencies, I think, it just plays into the narrative that we want to get rid of in order to move forward. So I'm all with you. Let's shake that stuff to the curb.
Yes, usually I try to avoid the comment section because I feel like, okay, I don't have time for this today. But sometimes I got time, cuz.
No.
Sometimes I got
Got time.
time. You know,
That's
and
right.
I'll
I can
go
tell
there.
when she has time too.
Oh,
I'll go on
yeah.
Facebook and I'm like, oh, there she is. Get them, Chaveevah. She'll
Yeah.
get people
and,
straight.
and that, you know, it's like crime does not have an ethnicity. Crime is just crime.
Crime is crime.
You know.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes. So
You heard it right here on the Rocki and Chaveevah show.
Right. North End Update Live. Boom shakalaka. So there. Yeah, that's one thing we wanted to kind of debunk and, keep it moving because there's so many things and so many people want to have these conversations. So we feel it's important that we do.
That we give it air.
Yes.
Yes, right. And, coming from a biracial family like the one you're in, and also we want to encourage people to get the book. Travis, it's not your birthday. Do your kids have it?
No.
Well, you need to get one.
Okay.
But I know my dad's, when we were growing up, we would get stared at a lot. And I'm sure times have not changed, but the thing my dad would do is speak to everyone and make sure and kill them with kindness, so to speak. So that's kind of the way we kind of handle it. Do you do the same, or how does
I
things?
do. I mean, I try my best anyway. My 7-year-old gets it. She's extremely emotionally intelligent. So for me, I don't have to say a whole lot. She gets it. She understands a lot of nonverbals. But I mean, we have difficult conversations about. We got our Black Lives Matter sign from Chris Schwartz yesterday, right? And she's like, Black Lives Matter, but mommy, you're white. Your life matters. My wife is like, yeah, that's right. But right now, it's important that everybody knows that your life matters. She got it. We didn't have to say much more than that, right?
Right.
But it's difficult for me sometimes, and I always use the phrase I was taught by Senator Bill Dotzler really early on at the Capitol. I treat you like a gentleman, not because you are one, because I was raised one. And for me, that's always a model I try to use with my daughters. Just because people treat you bad, that's not how you were raised. So you be an example of how they should behave, and one day maybe they can learn from you. I mean, if not, that's not on you. You can walk away from that. But you don't have to tolerate people treating you a certain way. Once you've done your piece, it's time to move around.
Right.
Right.
And then the American flag, we had that. We're going to talk just briefly on that. And hopefully, I don't know if we have any more comments, Ed, you'll just jump in if we do. But we had a video on our wall about Rosedale, and that was Rosedale, Queens.
Yes.
And we encourage you to all go look at that on the North End Update page. Like the page while you're there. So the American flag drew these young children in 1975, the year I
Right.
graduated.
Right.
And there was a riot. So these are things that are coming up to surface now. The end of
They
it.
saw the flag and were attracted because they thought there was a parade going on.
Right.
So they rode their bikes down to see what was going on, and it ended up being a group of white people in Rosedale, Queens, who were rallying against black people living there. So these children show up, right, and they were just
And the reporters.
awful to them, period,
Very mean. And the reporters were there to capture some of their emotions, and it just broke your heart. So, we want to, and they were attracted by the American flag. And the young woman, they found the kids after they'd grown up. And she said that the one quote that I remember is the reporter asked her, "Do you forgive them?" And she said, "No." And she had tears in her eyes. She said, "You can't forget," what did she say? You can't.
So you can't take away that hurt.
Can't take away the hurt.
Yeah.
So, and that was a 7-year-old little girl. So
Wow.
these were things, and still we're still fighting is what I'm saying, is there's still these kinds of attitudes and stuff like that. So we need to review this history.
And it's imperative. I mean, one thing that I realized, I want Black people, people of color in this country to feel the same sense of hope about the American flag that people do from other countries, right? When you immigrate to the United States, the flag is like a magnet of hope, like a beacon of light. But to be a person of color in this country, is sometimes it's weaponized as to, if you don't pay enough reverence to this thing that never really represented you in the first place, then you're not enough American, which is interesting because we've seen it be put on bandanas and all these other conversations, and people talk about Colin Kaepernick, and it's because we have to aspire for the flag to mean much more than it does. And if it really wanted to take its initial meeting, we have a lot more work to do as a country. We have to reflect on that.
That was sort of one of the passing, the last comments that this same woman as an adult made about the flag, and is that she wants to have that same sense of wonder and that same pride and everything as she had on that day when she went thinking she was going to see a parade. You know, she wants that meaning to be captured back for her. So.
From a child, because she's you could tell she was like, I saw the flag and I thought there was a parade. She was so excited, and then when she got there, to get her heart broken was really a slap in the face. So yeah, and the flag means different things to different people, and hopefully now we can get that, or the next generation can feel that America stood up and did the right thing and started to change some policies.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we done wore you out with all these questions.
We have aired it out today.
We have aired it out today, and you've taken the grunt of what we usually ask 3 or 4 people. So, because of social distancing, you get to be our only guest.
Oh, I don't mind. I enjoy the conversation. I think we have to have it. We have to have it, and we're privileged to have you all in our community who can actually talk about it in a way that people can consume it and take it and understand it. So I think I'm thankful for that, because a lot of places don't have that.
Oh, thank you.
I've learned that we need more. We need
Oh,
more. Take it on the
thank you.
road.
Thank you.
Go
Yes.
on, Ras.
We're gonna take it on the road.
We're not even, we're social distant, but yes, thank you so much. Okay, so we are going to talk about how people can watch us, and that's on WCT, Channel 17 on MediaCom. And you can go to North End Update on YouTube and like our page. I said that wrong.
Okay.
Anyway, you guys know the drill already. We've been on for almost our 4th year, Chaveevah.
That's right. Oh man, time flies when you're having fun.
That's right.
Yes.
And if you have any show ideas, please, by all means, you can email us at northendupdate, all one word, northendupdate@gmail.com. Look at there. Agnes is the bomb. She's got it right there.
She's so ready all the time.
Okay.
Also on our page, I don't know if Agnes has these ready to show you, but Chaveevah has some of her artwork displayed.
Really?
And we thought that if you'd like to get a print, you certainly can. And if you, look at there. She's got them all displayed. Those are just some of my favorites. My very personal favorite is Colored Women on the left right there.
I'm gonna get that from my girls. That's a good one.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
Colored women. That's actually from a photograph of some friends of mine from a different life. I used to be a dancer.
Yes, and so
Some
much
of my dancing
beautiful ones.
friends.
So there's another reason to go to North End Update and like the page. And then you can just inbox us, and Chaveevah can sign a print, date it, and send it to you for 30 big ones. Yeah. Oops, did I say that?
You did say that.
Okay. Okay.
And shout out to Ed and to Agnes, because I see when I first walked in, I thought how welcoming. I see a picture, a couple of my prints are hanging right there in the lobby when I came in.
I see your work so
Yes.
much I didn't even
I've been here
notice.
Since we did that.
No, I have not.
How nice. Thank you, guys. So listen, now we're going to move on to the You Subscribe.
Yes.
Soul Town. All right.
Hello. Yeah,
Yes.
there it is. And it started with a very innovative woman named Chaveevah,
Chilling.
Yes.
a.k.a. Chillin'.
Chillin'.
Yes. and she's out in California doing wonderful things there. But she makes sure we get our copy. And you see, Keisha, her daughter, is a graduate, and she's on the front page.
Yes, and there's a shout out to our graduates who did not get a chance to do the traditional graduation with the walking the stage and stuff like that. But some wonderful events had been planned for them, and so any bit of acknowledgement that we can give them for
Definitely
this
so.
milestone in their life, you know, that's wonderful. Another thing that's in this month's issue that was really, I thought, super interesting, and that is Queen Gabby and Big Q both confronted the same question about different politics in the same house.
Oh,
yes.
How could that?
The wife is one party, and I think the husband is another, most definitely. And so, how do you confront that? How do you deal with that?
Something to check out.
Interesting
the Soul
reading.
Town
That's right. Check out the Soul Town.
at thesoultown.com.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, Ed, we have comments.
Well, to lighten it up a little bit, we have a comment. Philip Banks says, Rocki, your garden is more beautiful than ever.
Oh, Philip, thank you so much. Yeah, it's that's the only part that's done. So don't look at the rest of the yard. But I will get
Oh,
there.
that's a shout out all the way from San Diego, California.
Yes,
Hey,
from a
hey.
fellow gardener. That's her brother, and he grows avocados and
Really?
lemons and sends them in UPS.
I know. Yeah, he
Love
did.
it.
One year
Really?
sent me from a avocado seed. He started tree, sends me avocados, oranges, lemons, all kinds of.
I think on his mailing list. Maybe I get on the Christmas list.
Right.
Get on the Christmas
Get
list.
the
I know
Christmas
that's
list.
right.
And all she sent him was some alpaca socks. Okay, we got to get on to our birthdays. Hello, and we heard you like to sing. You can
Oh
sing.
my goodness!
We
Who
heard
told-
you could
Somebody
sing.
made that up. Somebody was talking.
Somebody likes to put people on the spot
Somebody
about
was
singing.
talking.
I'm
Was that
just not
Quinn?
calling no names, but
Yeah, somebody was talking.
Let me hear you say
Me?
me.
Oh
Yeah,
my
you,
goodness.
me.
Happy birthday to you.
Ooh.
I'm gonna leave it right there, though. I'm gonna leave
Okay,
it
all
right
right. All right. Well, we got some names we got to holler, and then we're going to sing the Stevie Wonder version after we say our names.
why, yes.
Okay. Who are they, Chaveevah?
Okay, we've got Lenny Center, Dan Bellows, Leandra Outlaw, Gregory Gentry, Cherie Kaba, Michael Wooten, and Aloysius Rodriguez Stewart.
Ooh, I give you the hard names.
I
Happy birthday
I
to
caught
y'all. Nicole Lyric Salas, Chris Jones, Cassandra Hart, our double birthday wish, because
Yes.
we wished her last week. Troy Williams, DJ Commando, was
Hey,
jamming
hey.
this morning
All
on
right,
our
yes.
page for his birthday. Natoya Cole, Anthony Quinn, and Amanda Gilbert. And she left KWWL, didn't she?
Did she?
So,
I
yeah,
believe so.
she's gone. So we're going to end our show by having a lot of fun.
Yes.
And we're going to sing the Stevie Wonder version. And it goes something like this. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday, happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday.
All right. All right.
A little bravado, a little crescendo, you
All
know.
of that.
Act like I'm lyrical and Felicia Smith and all.
All
At
right.
the same
At
too.
the same time.
At the same
All
time.
right.
Okay. Well, we've had a lot of fun.
Yes, yes. And it's been just great to be back in the studio. Great to have Ras Smith as our guest today. And yeah.
Thank you for having me. I gotta come back more. This is fun.
I know. And yeah, usually we critique it all and have a meeting afterwards, but with the pandemic, I guess we're just gonna go home.
I'm gonna go to Two Scoops.
Are you going to Two
I'm going to Two
Scoops? Oh,
Scoops.
shout out to
All
Two
right.
Scoops. Hey, Jennifer, we love you.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we're going to say goodbye, and we want to encourage our viewers to keep doing more of what makes you awesome, Amelia. Keep painting.
That's right, because it makes us all look good.
See you next time.
See you next time.